Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What kind of slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm going to burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you. Toadstool Sports Friday the 13th. So we're all going to die. There's going to be a masked killer coming after us. There's no hockey. Friday the 13th in February, and there's no hockey except for, I guess, the Olympics are going on. I'm not paying any attention to the Olympics because they banned fighting or something. So what good is that? The Olympics are lame. I watched a little bit of curling the other day when it was on. I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot how boring curling is to watch. Yeah, that's right. I don't have a whole lot to say. Friday the 13th, by the way, a lot of people don't know because people think about it, like people talk about it, but they haven't even really actually seen the original. The original movie doesn't have Jason in it. He's not the killer in the first one. Oh, whoops, spoiler. He comes into play in the future movies. But, yeah, so, I don't know. It seems like that's like a common misconception there. But whatever. It's Friday the 13th. Let's watch some horror movies or whatever. Hopefully it's not going to be a horror movie with the one play that I give out. I don't even love this one play. But I have one play. Yesterday was a horror movie. Dirty Sock, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. Yesterday, the market moved against the Elon play yesterday, even though I did hear some professionals mention that they did agree with that Elon play. I obviously thought it was, I thought it was the right side just because that's where my handicap led me. If you look at what happened in that game, the shooting percentages, I think, were just major outliers. I think there was some very, very crazy part of that box score that threw that game completely off. Elon couldn't hit anything. If you were to tell me that, part of the handicap was UNC Wilmington plays slow. If you were to tell me UNC Wilmington was going to wind up in the 60s in that game, I would have been like, yeah, this is a no-brainer. You're taking the points here. Elon made it closer towards the end, but they lost by 9, I believe. So they fell 1.5 points, or maybe it was 11, whatever it was. They were not that far off from the spread. And then Tennessee Tech put themselves in a giant hole early in the game, and they couldn't get out of it. And they almost did. They cut the game to like 6 points near the end of the game. And I'm like, oh, my God, are they actually going to cover this? No, they did not. Stop teasing me, man. Plus, at the end, you're going to intentionally foul and whatever. So I think they lost by 7. I'm not happy about it. Both final scores wound up being not that far off from the spread. We're going to have an underdog in college basketball tonight. It's another sandwich spot. I don't know if it's the best because it is going to fade a revenge, a potential revenge scenario, but I think it is the right move. I don't know. Hopefully it is. We have a more typical College Friday board here where we have a lot of Ivy League in action, which is very uninteresting. We have some MAC going on. Most of that conference, I think, is in play. And then later in the night, there are some big games that are all getting TV billing. Early in the day, there is one weird, isolated 6:30 p.m. game with Manhattan and Niagara. I don't know who's going to watch this game. in the MAAC. You can watch it on ESPN Plus. I mean, me being a college basketball obsessed person, there's a chance I might throw that game on and just check it out briefly, but I don't really have a whole lot to say about the game. Teams did already play each other. Manhattan won the first matchup by 9 at home, so there is the potential they don't take Niagara seriously, but they're only coming off of a win over Sacred Heart, and it ended a losing streak, so I don't really see it being a horrible spot for Manhattan here. And they only have Canisius next, which is not a good team. Niagara might even be worse, though. Niagara's terrible, but actually, the angle in this game, I would fade Niagara in this game and go against the revenge scenario. Revenge, again, that's not the only thing that you should look at, right? And I am going against it with my one play. There are a lot of other factors. Yeah, revenge is a factor, but it's not really revenge. Again, it's that the team that won, if they won in like an outlier way, they might overlook that team. Like, if the team blew the team out in the first game, then yeah, that team might overlook that team, right? So that's the revenge scenario that actually kind of works. Now, for Niagara here, the spot does not set up well for them because they just went to Quinnipiac, and they were double-digit underdogs in that game, and they almost pulled off the upset. And that was after they got the season sweep of their Buffalo rival, Canisius. So they're actually coming off 2 really big performances. And I talk about when a small underdog goes to the wire with the favorite, I tend to not like them in the next game. I think they'll be in a bad spot in the next game more often than not and come up flat. So I would have to lean to Manhattan in that game for that reason. The money is not agreeing with me. Niagara did drop from 2.5 to 2, but we have 50-50 on the tickets and 64% of the cash on Niagara. I don't agree with that one, though. There's no way that I could play Niagara coming off of what they just did in their previous game. CBS Sports, the first TV game of the night, the only TV game at 7 p.m. So the Ivies all get screwed. The MAAC all get screwed. They're all on the ESPN Plus. So people can stream all those games online, but the actual TV game, the A10, gets to play in it. And there's actually a doubleheader on CBS Sports, but the second game of the doubleheader is actually not the other A10 game. It's a MAC game. But it's the Battle of the Georges, George Mason and George Washington, Part 2. George Mason won the first matchup at home, only by 5. I believe they're only 1.5-point favorites, though, so it's interesting, because if they were 1.5-point favorites in that game, then the odds makers are telling you that GW was actually the better team, according to the odds makers at the time. And the odds makers are still, the odds makers are no longer telling you that, because they're now lining George Washington as a 2.5-point favorite. So they're actually telling you George Mason is now the better team. I think probably George Mason is the better team here. Ken Baum does have them in the top 100. He doesn't have George Washington that bad, though. Oh, no, excuse me. He has George Washington actually 2 ranking spots ahead of them. What am I saying? I think they've flip-flopped quite a bit throughout the season. So Ken Baum is actually disagreeing with this. So it's interesting. George Mason did win the first game. So maybe there's the potential maybe they overlook George Washington here. But George Mason is coming off a pretty ugly loss to Richmond. After George Mason was kind of cruising in this conference for a while, although I don't believe they've had to play St. Louis at all yet. They played them in the very last game of the season. How did the schedule makers know those would be the 2 best teams in the conference? Well, besides VCU, I guess. But have like the 2 best records. I don't know. But George Mason no longer has the 2nd best record in the conference because they lost to Richmond. Could argue there's a bounce back component to this, but they got a bigger game on deck with Dayton too. But maybe they show up because it's a TV game here. But George Washington, they might really get up for this because I think, first of all, they're underrated. I think Ken Baum probably is going to have GW. Yeah, Ken Baum has GW as literally the unluckiest team in the entire country. So he's telling you they have way underperformed at 14 and 11. But they're a top 100 team according to his rankings, whereas George Mason is the 64th luckiest team. So they've been luckier. George Mason is the better defensive team, and they play slow. George Washington is the better offensive team, and they play fast. So it's kind of that typical style mismatch here. George Washington might be able to speed it up at home, but what I was going to say is I think George Washington getting this primetime billing and basically having this being the one big game in this time slot, isolated from everything, I think George Washington is going to get way up for this game. And they just ended a 4-game losing streak with a win that was not a win that's going to make you overconfident, beating Rhode Island at home. So I have to lean to George Washington in this game. I think the odds makers are actually shortchanging them a little bit based on what we just looked at there in the power ratings. George Washington, again, they're not even getting the complete home court advantage here for a game like this. So the odds makers are actually still telling you Mason is actually the slightly better team, or maybe they just have to skew it that way because the public is going to probably come in on George Mason. I wouldn't do it. A lot of things line up for George Washington in this one. That's the way I would play it. Would be to lay the 2.5. Or if you can find a really cheap money line on it, I think that would be fine as well. But also, I mean, the public's going to look at this and think, oh, my God, George Mason's clearly going to bounce back. They have this really pretty-looking record. They have the way better record, and you're giving me them as an underdog. It looks way too easy to take George Mason. So for that reason as well, I would not be doing that. So I like George Washington in that one. They dropped from 3.5 to 2.5, so the opening line was actually more appropriate. I think Ken Baum has this game being a 3-point game. So 58% of the tickets and cash on George Mason. For what that's worth, I think they will wind up being a public side. The public is probably going to want some TV action early, so they will probably have some action on this game. Kyle, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. All right. Wow, it looks like Cornell actually changed their logo, and it's actually a worse logo. What did their logo look like before? It's now just this big red C. They're always the big red, but I thought it was like some kind of animal or something. I forget. I don't like this logo change. It's so, like, boring, man. It's so sterile. I don't know. At least Princeton, I mean, they've kept their logo for a long time, but at least they have tiger stripes in their P. Tiger stripes in your P. Consult the doctor, man. Cornell coming into this game, they already beat Princeton by 23 at home, so there's the potential they overlook Princeton here. They do have Penn next, and Penn is above Cornell in the standings. Although I keep saying I think Cornell might be the second or third best team in the Ivy to Yale, obviously, who is far and away the best team in this conference. So I don't love Cornell in this one. I would be leaning towards Princeton. Probably, I'm assuming they're going to be an underdog in this game. Princeton, they are coming back home. Princeton did just have a close game on the road at Penn, but they were only small underdogs in that game. So I kind of expect them to show up there. So I would be looking towards taking the points with Princeton in that one. Looks like the money is definitely indicating on that side. Cornell's the 3-point road favorite. 50-50 on the tickets, 97% of the cash on Princeton. I would agree with Princeton in that one. Let me see. I mean, a lot of these other games, I mean, if you want me to talk about some of these other games, I guess I can. A lot of them are not really particularly interesting. Although we do have, St. Peter's Sacred Heart is a closely lined game, at least in the MAAC conference. I don't believe these teams have played each other this season. This might be the only time. The only thing I can really say about this is St. Peter's is coming off a pretty big win over Siena. Siena was tied with them in the standings, so they're right near the top of the standings. That was a big win. It ended a win streak for Siena as well, so could be a letdown spot for St. Peter's. I don't really see much of an additional angle here besides that. Sacred Heart's on a 3-game losing streak. They just got blown out at Manhattan. So I would probably lean Sacred Heart in that one. Plus, if the public looks at this game, they're going to think it looks really easy. Oh, my God. You're basically like lining St. Peter's with like a pick the winner type of price, a 1.5-point favorite. All I got to do is pick the winner. Well, obviously, I'm going to pick the team with the better record, right? That's what the public is going to do there. So I would go against that sentiment as well there. I would lean towards Sacred Heart. It looks like you're getting more on that now. St. Peter's is up to 2 with juice even at some spots. 67% of the tickets are on St. Peter's, 98% of the cash on Sacred Heart. I agree with Sacred Heart in that one. Yale at Dartmouth. The only thing I could say about this is that there's the potential that Yale is looking ahead because they have 2 conference losses so far, and one of them was to the team that's tied with them in the standings, which is Harvard, and that's who they're playing next. So they lost at home to Harvard. So I could see Yale possibly overlooking this Dartmouth game here. They already beat Dartmouth at home by 15. Yale's coming off a weird win against Howard, although Yale didn't do well in that game. And I told you it was a weird spot where I just thought Yale was going to barely show up. And they did enough to win the game. They obviously did not cover. Howard is a terrible, terrible team. That was just a very weird out-of-conference game. I don't know what that was. So it's a little bit of a weird travel spot for Yale because I think, where is Howard? I don't even know. I think it's in D.C., right? Yeah, D.C. Yeah, so that was kind of a weird travel spot for Yale to have to go down there. It's a little bit outside of the Ivy League geography there. So that was a weird spot. They may be looking ahead to Harvard because that's going to be a big revenge game against the team that's tied with them in the standings. It'll be a battle for first place, assuming Yale's able to beat Dartmouth again. I would take the points with Dartmouth in this one. Dartmouth is coming off losing fairly ugly at home to Harvard, and they're staying at home up in New Hampshire. Yale's laying 9 points. It looks like it's headed up a little bit too, but I would take the points in that one. Quinnipiac and Siena. Interesting game in the MAAC. Quinnipiac. These two teams are both near the top of the conference. They're both pretty good teams in the conference. I don't believe these teams have played yet this season. Quinnipiac just barely got by Niagara, which I just mentioned a little while ago. So I like the focus that might bring. When you were a big favorite like Quinnipiac was, they were like 12.5-point favorites in that game, and you barely get by that opponent. I think some of it is because you're not paying attention to them and you're looking ahead potentially. I think that might have been what Quinnipiac was doing there. Oh, Niagara sucks. We won't take them seriously. That's basically what happened there. Now they're coming off a real scare. I think they're going to show up for this game against Siena. Siena, they're a solid team in this conference for sure. They just lost a huge win streak, though. They lost a 6-game win streak, which got busted in a big game against St. Peter's, who is close to the top of the conference here. That was a big game. They lost by 5, and I talk about how when you lose a win streak, that can hang you over into the next game, and also if it's a big game, that can also hang you over. So I think this spot sets up a lot better for Quinnipiac, in my opinion, in this one. I would take the points. This one almost made my card. The money looks like it is coming in on Quinnipiac. It's a low total in the 140s as well. Siena up from 3 to 4. 67% of tickets and 74% of the cash on Quinnipiac. And that would be the way I would lean in that one, man. I'm tempted to do it. I mean, I think I looked at KenPom and it didn't quite entice me. Yeah, Quinnipiac is a very lucky team, though. According to KenPom, 31st in luck. That's not great, meaning they've overperformed a little bit. They're the better defense, though. 135th, according to KenPom. Not a good offense, but they're a good defense, although they actually play fast, which is weird. Siena actually plays really slow, and Siena's more of a balanced team, but they're just mediocre at everything, basically. Mediocre on offense and on defense. They're unlucky, though, according to KenPom. 220th in luck, so they're in sort of the bottom third of luck. Both teams face a very weak schedule, though, because they're playing in this awful conference as well. But I don't think they face a strong out-of-conference schedule either. But you are getting the better defense with Quinnipiac in this one. I'm tempted, although I think Siena might show up for the game too, but I am tempted, man. I mean, Quinnipiac is right behind them in the standings. Let me see what happened in this game real quick. St. Peter's at Quinnipiac. Siena at St. Peter's, Siena was actually a road favorite in this game. Interesting. So the odds maker's telling you St. Peter's is not really legit. Both teams were terrible from three-point range in the game. St. Peter's actually had a ton of free throws in the game, but they did actually dominate the rebound battle too, so that's not a good sign for Siena. I'm tempted, man. I'm considering it. I'm tempted. I don't want this show to go very long. Plus, I have to do the Saturday card. I already have one play that I think I'm going to have on Saturday. Should we do it? I don't know, man. I'm still thinking about it because I do like how the spot sets up for Quinnipiac quite a bit. I don't know. The way that my handicapping works, I'll leave it alone, but man, that's close to a play for me. All right. What else do we have here? Brown at Harvard. I mean, Harvard is probably going to be looking ahead to Yale again here. Harvard, they're on a 3-game win streak, including winning at Yale, but they also beat Brown during that win streak on the road by 10. So they might just not be focused in this game against Brown. Brown is at the bottom of the conference in the Ivy. They're not a good team. Harvard, I think they might be looking ahead here, man. Yale and Cornell on deck. Those are both bigger games. So I would be leaning towards taking the points with Brown in that one, asking what can Brown do for you. Harvard up from 8 to 8.5 there. Pretty big line there, especially with a total this low in the low 130s. 75% of tickets, 87% of the cash on Harvard. So it looks like the money has come in on Harvard early, but I would not do that. I would fade Harvard in that one. You're playing Quinnipiac. All right. I mean, obviously I agree with it. I am tempted, but I'm going to skip it. Now we get into the big games, the TV games. The TV games really start late at night, man. We get the late night Friday card here. Fox has number 10 Michigan State at Wisconsin, and this is a difficult game to read, man. Both teams are coming off huge wins against Illinois. Now, part of the question is going to be, well, which team played more recently? Because that's the team that's going to have less rest to get over it. That would be Wisconsin, because Michigan hasn't played since Saturday. So they did go into overtime, but they've had since Saturday to get over it. That was a big game, no doubt about it. Huge win for Michigan State. This is going to be a big game for both teams, I would say. But I think the game for Wisconsin, I think the situation just sets up a little bit worse for them. Wisconsin pulled off they actually went into overtime as well, and it was more recent, and it was a bigger upset. I think, in fact, Michigan State was actually favored against Illinois, if I remember correctly, at home. I think I got both these leans correct, by the way. I leaned to Michigan State against Illinois, was considering making it a play, and then I did lean to Wisconsin in this game against Illinois as well. Wisconsin got the huge upset. They were 9.5-point underdogs in this game on the road at Illinois, so that was kind of a more monumental win. The Wisconsin won there over Illinois, and that happened on Tuesday, so they've only had a couple of days to get over it, and it was their second straight overtime game where they kind of got jobbed by the refs on Saturday against Indiana. I think the spot is definitely worse for Wisconsin coming off of that, even though I know it's a big game. It's a Fox TV game. The crowd's going to be crazy. It's in Madison, all that. But I would have to lean to Michigan State in this one. They got the rest advantage, and that win for Wisconsin was just a lot crazier than Michigan State's was against the same opponent. Extra rest for Michigan State. I would have to go Michigan State here. They're up from 2 to 2.5 on the road here. I mean, it does look too easy. I know it's a lay points with a ranked team like this on the road, but I think the spot is just way better for Michigan State. 55% of tickets, 65% of the cash on Michigan State. I'm not going to give it out as a play or anything like that, but I would lean to Michigan State in that one. And Ken Baum, he will kind of bear that out as well. He's got Michigan State as the 10th best team in the country. They're an excellent defense, so they're not so good on offense. But Wisconsin's not that good, man. He's got them 36th, and he has them very weak defensively. They're the better offensive team, and they actually play fast, which is kind of a newer thing for Wisconsin. Michigan State will probably be able to successfully slow the game down a bit, though, because they're the better team, and it's easier to slow the game down anyway. And according to Ken Baum, Wisconsin is the way luckier team over Michigan State, too. So he's actually telling you Wisconsin's a little bit overrated, which is crazy to think about. Total somewhat low in the 140s, kind of indicating maybe Michigan State will control the pace. We have number 18, St. Louis at Loyola, Chicago. Not exactly a great matchup, although people want to watch St. Louis because people are hearing about the name. They're hearing about Robbie Avila, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Hey, man, we were early on the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar train, man, or whatever. What's his other nickname again? I forget. I don't know. Dude, we should make up other nicknames for him. Just take a famous, take a famous big basketball player, big black basketball player, and like make his name a pun on whiteness, and then you get Robbie Avila. Although I think isn't Avila Hispanic or something? I don't know, man. But he looks very white. But yeah, you'll get to watch him in this game against a terrible Loyola Chicago team. Although I don't know that St. Louis is really going to be that excited about this game. They're coming off absolutely trouncing LaSalle. I think St. Louis might just go through the motions a little bit here. They got Rhode Island on deck, which is not a big deal either. Their big game against VCU was after that, but still, they just might not take Loyola Chicago seriously, really. Although with LaSalle, they'd already beaten them by double digits on the road, and they still drilled them in the last game. So some aspect of this is just, well, St. Louis is just too good relative to their opponent. Loyola, I mean, they do get to host a primetime game, though, so they might get up for this. So, you know, I mean, I would probably take the points with Loyola in this one. There's no way that I actually want to do it, but, I mean, there is a chance that St. Louis could just effortlessly cover this, but St. Louis is an 18.5-point road favorite here. 87% of tickets, 96% of the cash on them. The only way that I could really play it if you forced me to give a lean on that would be to take the points, but it is very ugly, and St. Louis is good, but at this point, I think the hype is too great on St. Louis. Ken Baum has them as the 24th best team in the country, and he does have them somewhat lucky. Although they're legit. Like, people talk about how good their offense is, and I think they're, like, near the very top in the country in, like the ability to score per possession, even though Ken Baum has them 37th in offensive efficiency. But they have some, like, really, really high field goal percentage because they take very high percentage shots. But they're actually better on the defensive side, according to Ken Palm. And they play fast, which is not something you usually see, but that's what they do. The big white diesel. It would have to be like, I don't know, because Shaq was the diesel, right? You got to, or is. I don't know. It's got to be, I don't know, something with diesel, but make it white. I don't know. The Last White Hope, I don't know. That's just like White Mamba. Is that a snake? I don't know. It needs to be like a, I don't know, like a pun. Let me see. What is his other nickname? He had one other nickname that was out there. I'm going to look it up real quick. People are calling him Larry Blurred because he wears glasses and he has blurred vision. That's not what I was thinking of. Or they're calling him Larry Nerd. Dude, he's a white guy who went to Indiana State, man. So he is like Larry Bird, but with glasses. People have called him Steph Blurry, Milk Chamberlain. None of those are what I was thinking of, though. What are the other ways? College Jokic? That is such a, oh man, that's such a lazy nickname. Like, yeah, he's like Jokic, but he's in college. College Jokic. None of those are the one that I was thinking of, though. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm really out of it. I don't know. There was some other nickname. Unless maybe it was Larry Nerd. I don't know, man. I thought there was, I don't know. For some reason, I thought there was some other nickname. We got to come up with some other ones, though. Sometimes I'm good at that. Like when I'm in tower game mode, I'm good at that. I don't know. But, yeah, they're going to be a fun team to watch in the tournament. ESPN has, oh, yeah, the Miami, Ohio. What are they again? Are they the Red Hawks? Yeah. Miami, Ohio, that team. Number 23 in the country, although Ken Baum has them 84th or something like that. They're hosting Ohio. It is a big Ohio rivalry, and these teams will finish the season against each other at Ohio. Could be a weird spot for Miami, Ohio, man. If they go all the way to that game undefeated and they have to play on the road in that final game, all the pressure is going to be on Miami, Ohio in that one, man. That'll be an interesting one. We'll see if that happens. I don't think Miami, Ohio is going to lose this game, but I think there's probably no value in laying points with them. They're coming off a pretty impressive win, man, against Marshall. I thought Marshall would put up a better fight there in that Max Sunbelt Challenge at Marshall. I thought it was kind of a weird spot for Miami, Ohio, but at least when you're in Southern Ohio or wherever the hell you are, you don't really have to go that far to get to Marshall in West Virginia. So it wasn't, I guess, the weirdest travel spot. Now, they're hosting an ESPN game, so my guess is that Miami, Ohio will pack the stadium for this one. So I think the crowd will get excited for it because they're the talk right now. They're the only undefeated team left now, man, after Arizona lost. I think this is the first time Miami, Ohio is playing as the lone undefeated team left. But, of course, that means there's a huge target on their back. Ohio had a bad game in the MAC Sun Belt Challenge, losing to Old Dominion. That wasn't a good performance from them. They might have been looking ahead to this game. So, again, I think probably you're looking at an overvalued Miami, Ohio team. They're not as good as people think they are based on the fact that they're undefeated. They're up to a 10-point favorite here. 79% of tickets are on Miami, Ohio. You know the public's going to come in and want to play Miami, Ohio here because that's just what they're going to do. You get to watch this game on TV, but I would take the points with Ohio if I was going to play it. 63% of the cash on Ohio. That's the way I would have to lean in that one, but no real strong opinion from me on that one. CBS Sports in their doubleheader after the Battle of the Georges, they switched conferences and they got a MAC game. So a couple of MAC games. This one is UMass and Akron. It's not exactly that interesting of a game. UMass is coming off that ridiculous triple overtime game that I mentioned yesterday against Coastal Carolina. That was on Saturday. That was an insane game. So I don't know how they're going to respond coming off of that. I mean, you got to think they will show up for a game against Akron. And, of course, I've been telling you Akron is actually the best team in the MAC this whole time. And I think the odds makers are kind of bearing that out because Akron is a huge favorite in this game. Bigger than Miami, Ohio is against Ohio. Although, yeah, Ohio is probably better than UMass. But UMass, it's a difficult spot for them coming off that triple OT game, man. They do also have Miami, Ohio on deck. Although, again, I don't really think they're going to overlook Akron, who's a one-loss team in the conference. Their only loss was at Miami, Ohio. Akron did just lose a win streak, though. A long win streak. They'd won 10 games in a row or something like that, and they lost to the Sun Belt leaders, Troy. And I think there is a big gap, actually, in the Sun Belt. I think Troy is easily the best team in that conference right now. So it's not a horrible loss for Akron, having to go to an unfamiliar environment, going down to Alabama to play Troy. But a lot of times you'll be hung over when you play a big game like that because I think it was a big deal. It was the teams that I would say are the best teams in their respective conferences playing each other, and you lose a huge win streak. That could definitely hang you over into the next game. As I always say, teams that lose long win streaks, it is a hangover spot. So, yeah, I mean, this is a tough call, man, because I don't like the fact that UMass is coming up that triple OT game either, but I probably would have to lean towards taking the points with UMass. They're 13.5-point underdogs here. 56% of the tickets, 91% of the cash on UMass. The money's coming back in on UMass. UMass is not that bad of a team. They're like a middle-tier MAC team. Akron, though, definitely actually a legit team, though, which is why they're laying a ton of points. Akron's not as good on defense, though. They're a fast team, and they mostly play offense rather than defense. So, as you can see, Ken Bum here. Ken Bum has them 65th in the country, by the way, overall. Still like 20 ranking spots higher than Miami, Ohio. 2 games left. You know, one of them is my play. Well, it's going to be this one. We're going to grab the points with UNLV against Boise, plus 9.5 here. Boise hasn't exactly been that great at home this year, for one thing. And I know Boise already lost at UNLV, so there is a bit of a revenge motive here where they might take UNLV seriously for that reason because they lost on the road. But I'm looking at what Boise has done recently, and it's not good. It doesn't set up well for them. But also, look at what they've done at home so far. Yeah, they did beat New Mexico at home. I know out of conference they had a really nice home win against St. Mary's, but after that New Mexico win at home, and maybe they just match up well against New Mexico because I'll tell you in a minute what they just did against New Mexico, which is part of the reason why I'm doing this. But they also have losses at home to Grand Canyon by double digits, a blowout loss to Utah State. I mean, a loss to Utah State is acceptable, but a blowout one at home, I don't know, man. And then they have wins against Colorado State, Air Force. Those are not good teams. They got by Nevada at home, and that's it. So they really have not been an impressive home team, man. Now they're coming off a win on the road against New Mexico. They were probably about 6-point underdogs in this game, I would guess. 4.5, actually. It opened 5.5 and dropped to 4.5. So Boise actually won outright at New Mexico at the Pit. If you look at what happened in this game, New Mexico actually had a great shooting game. So what happened in this game? How did Boise win this game? Well, Boise took more free throws, and they shot 96% from the free throw line. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous, man. Other than that, the game probably shouldn't have gone Boise's way. So it's kind of ridiculous. It was really just a free throw disparity that got Boise the game. How good is Boise really at the free throw line? I actually don't know. It looks like they actually get a lot of free throw attempts. They do get to the line a lot. But what's their free throw percentage is not as good as that. They're 25th in the country, though, so it's not like they're a bad free throw shooting team. Buy Ken Baum, by the way. I shouldn't be showing those paywalled numbers there, but yes, you should buy Ken Baum. But yes, Boise is a good free throw shooting team, but no team shoots 96% from the free throw line on a nightly basis, man. Boise, even though they're 25th in the country in free throw percentage, you just saw their free throw percentage is like 77%, which is good. 96% does not happen on a game-by-game basis. And Boise, by the way, the reason why I think they might overlook UNLV, not just because they're coming up beating New Mexico on the road, which is a big win because New Mexico is third in the conference, and Boise actually beat Nevada, who's fourth in the conference right before that. Boise also has Utah State on deck, man. That is a monster game. It's a big revenge game, too, because Utah State totally embarrassed them at Boise. And, of course, Utah is the best team in the Mountain West, and they're atop the conference. So this is a sandwich spot for Boise. I'm going to go with UNLV in this one, man. UNLV, they're coming into this game with some momentum. I know they're going back out on the road. I know they haven't been that good on the road in conference play, except for the fact that they did beat Utah State on the road somehow. So that was a good road game for them. Their other road games were bad. I get it. Their only other road win was against San Jose State. But even so, we're going with it. We're getting a lot of points with them here. UNLV, yeah, they're coming off beating San Jose State in their last game. Not a win that's going to make you overconfident or anything like that. I, in fact, thought they might be looking ahead. I'm guessing UNLV did not cover this number. No, they didn't. They were 12.5-point favorites. I leaned to San Jose State to cover in that one, which was correct because UNLV was in a sandwich spot kind of between Grand Canyon and this game. The other thing about this is Boise plays slow. Ken Baum also has them as a pretty lucky team, 95th in the country in luck, but they're also in the bottom third in pace. And I'm used to Boise being a bad offense. They're not really this year. They're okay in offense and defense, but they play slow, man. They play these kind of slow, ugly games at home, which is what I'm hoping happens in this game. And for UNLV, I know UNLV is not as good on either side of the ball. They are less lucky, according to Ken Baum. They're in the mid-tier of luck, and they are a fast-paced team, so they're not going to be able to speed the game up here. Boise is almost definitely going to slow the game down. But if they do that, it's going to make it more difficult for them to win this game by double digits, which is what you're asking them to do here. UNLV has 62% of the tickets and 79% of the cash on them. It looks like you can get 10.5 on this now, so I would much prefer that. I think Ken Baum has this number actually at about 10. He might even have it at 11. I don't know, but maybe it'll go to 11, man. I'm not going to play the drop right now, but that's going to do it for now. Oh, no, wait. We have the one other game on ESPN2, but that is my play, UNLV plus the points. Michigan State money line. Depends on what price you can get on the money line. I agree with Michigan State. As long as you can get, I guess, minus 140 or cheaper than that, yeah, I would agree money line. Yeah, all right. And then the final game here on ESPN2 is not a good one. I don't know. Dude, why is this game at 11 p.m. when it's an East Coast game? This is absolutely bizarre. ESPN2 has a late doubleheader in college basketball, and they might have some game before the first game. I don't know. But after the St. Louis game, which is probably ugly enough because Loyola is terrible, who's going to watch this at 11 p.m. unless it's the degenerates trying to get their money back? Hampton at NCAA. This is an unbelievably bad game. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, this is in California. Holy shit. No wonder why it's at 11 p.m. Why is this game in California? What? I don't know. This is an odd game, dude. I don't know why this game's in California. Oh, it's the HBCU Classic, the historic black and colored universities. Is that what that stands for? Something like that. I don't know. They're playing in LA for whatever reason. So both teams are going to have to travel cross country for it. Now, I guess one question then would be, did either team actually have to travel out there this year? Hampton did not. It does not appear. Hampton, they're coming off of beating William and Mary, though, so that's a big game for Hampton, man. They just beat William and Mary. Now they have to fly across the country to play the worst team in the conference, NCAA. Like, really? I know Northeastern's below them, but NCAA is the worst team in the conference, man. And then they have Hofstra on deck, which is a big look ahead as well. Hofstra near the top of the conference. So I think Hampton is actually in a sandwich spot after pulling off a home upset against William and Mary and with Hofstra on deck. I would have to look to NCAA here, man. NCAA has 4 losses in a row. So for them, maybe it'd be good to just leave, go to the Pacific Coast. I don't believe either team has been out there this year, so that's kind of a wash as far as the travel spot. They have Charleston on deck, but I don't think they're going to overlook this. I would go with NCAA in this one, man. Hampton already dropped from 4 to 2, though. 75% of tickets, 91% of the cash on Hampton. I don't agree with that cash percentage. It would be NCAA for me or pass on the game. And NCAA actually getting a TV game is going to be fun, though, because you get to see, what's-his-face, Lewis Walker. He's one of the best players in college basketball, dude. Even though this team is awful, he's actually really good. So, yeah, watch it for this guy, man. He's averaging 19 points per game as a freshman, hitting over 50% of his shots. Yeah, he's going to probably transfer up to some better team, man. Could be another one of the North Carolina teams. We'll see, but might be worth putting that game on for a bit just to see that guy play. But that is going to do it for me, man. Let me get to some of these comments here. Minus 125. Yeah, that's a pretty good price. I like that. She squealed. What's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. Miami, Ohio's on TNT as well. Interesting. All right. Alexander, what's up, man? Yes, college basketball is the only thing to look at right now. If you're not looking at the Olympics or the NBA All-Star break. I don't have much to say about the NBA All-Star stuff. Some of it is tomorrow. I think the actual All-Star game might be Sunday. It's stupid. I don't even know. Actually, there are multiple games now, I guess, because it's not just East-West. It's like U.S. versus the world. I don't even know, dude. Like, I don't know why. Because they're trying to make the NBA international now. I hate all that. It's all bullshit. The dunk contest is also kind of bullshit. I don't know if I have... Well, I can look up the dunk contest odds. When is the dunk contest? I don't even know. Dunk contest, when is it? I know the three-point contest is tomorrow. Dunk contest is tomorrow as well. I'm going to look at the odds real quick. I know Mac McClung just signed with somebody, but I don't even think he's in it. Dude, I literally do not even know who most of the players are in the dunk contest. Like, these guys just specialize in dunks now. It's stupid. It's Carter Bryant, Jackson Hayes, Kashad Johnson, and Jace Richardson. Bryant has the best odds to win it at plus 180. Hayes at plus 200, it looks like, something around there. Yeah, I would not want to have my money on the dunk contest. It's all subjective. Like, I would not want to do anything with it. But I miss the 90s dunk contest where, like, you had, like, the best players in the league still doing it and whatever, you know. And it was less about the theatrics and more about, like, holy crap, that is an insane, like, technically an insane dunk. Like, Michael Jordan doing a whole bunch of crazy crap. What do you mean you're saying minus 10? I would take the points with Ohio in that one. 10 is what the line is, yeah. I would take it with Ohio. Miami, Ohio is just a massively overhyped team. The hype is going to be all on them now because they're the only undefeated team. So, big-time target on their back. They're both tomorrow, yeah. I don't know who these players are. The three-point contest is a little bit different. The three-point contest, I could basically tell you that Knippel has the best odds. He's kind of like Noah Kaniga, but for nipples instead. Knippel, the freshman out of Duke, who gets overshadowed by Cooper Flagg. Knippel has the best odds to win the three-point contest, but he's never done it before. He's a freshman, so I probably would not bet him in that thing. I think he's at like plus 300 something, but Damian Lillard is right behind him, and Lillard, I think, has won 2 in a row and has a lot of experience doing it, so Lillard might not be a bad shot at like plus 380 or something like that in the contest, the three-point contest I'm talking about. And then Devin Booker is in it. He's won it before. I think he won it years ago. He's like the third best odds, plus 400 something, I think. I mean, he might be worth a look as well, but I think, hasn't he been injured recently? I don't know, but I guess he's been back for a little while, I guess, and he's going to be in the three-point contest. I don't know. And then I forget, who else is in it? I forget. I don't know. The three-point contest has weird stuff going on, though. Three-point contest odds, let me see. Jamal Murray is also in it. Booker actually has dropped all the way to plus 550, man. So he's actually the second lowest odds now, which is weird. Because you would think that he would have a decent chance to win it just because he's experienced in it and he's done it before. Murray as plus 450, Maxey plus 600. At least I know who these guys are. Donovan Mitchell plus 600. Norman Powell is at plus 500. So Booker does not have the second worst odds. These are just not in order. And then Bobby Portis, isn't he a big guy? I don't even know. Bobby Portis plus 850. I don't even know, man. Yeah, I have no idea, dude. Portis is, I guess, 6'9". I don't know. I consider him to be kind of a big guy, but he's got the least odds at plus 850 to win it. But Booker actually has the fourth best odds after Knippel, Lillard, and Murray. I don't know, Jamal Murray, I should say. I don't know what Murray might be able to do in the thing. I don't know, man. I mean, all right, Lillard has not won 2 in a row. My mistake. He's won 2 times in the past, is what I meant to say. My mistake. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think I would want to go with Knippel just because he hasn't done it before. He's never participated in the three-point contest before, so I think I'd be leaning towards people that have more experience in it, but that did not work out that well last year, I don't think. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. You mean Steph Curry's not in it this year? Maybe because he's hurt. I don't know. Donovan Mitchell might actually be worth a look because I think he's been in it before too. I don't know, man. Tough to gauge the three-point contest. I don't know. I would kind of lean to Lillard, though, but he might be a little bit overvalued just because he's won it multiple times before, but he definitely has the experience, and we know he has the ability to do it. So that's going to do it for me, man. Once again, the one play I have today is UNLV plus the points. Second strongest lean was Quinnipiac plus the points. Hopefully we can get a win, and then I might have to be back tonight for the awful Saturday college basketball board that takes me 2 hours to break down, which is actually probably quick to break down over 100 games, and then a 3-hour show, which I got to try to condense somehow. But that's going to do it for now. Have a good one, everybody. I'll be back tonight, I guess, maybe, for the college basketball show. That's going to do it for now. At least, well, actually, you know what? I could do it in the morning maybe because there's no NHL or NBA. So I have nothing else to really talk about besides college basketball. So maybe I will do it tomorrow, but do it a little early. That's going to do it for now. Peace.